Testing. Hi, everyone. We're going to get started a little less than 10 minutes, maybe 7 minutes. We know that there's a lot of rain, and we've had some cancellations, some people saying that they're late. So sit tight, and we'll be with you soon. Thank you.
Hello. Hi there. Welcome, everyone. Please have a seat. If you're still standing, you're welcome to continue standing, but if you want to grab a seat, please do. Welcome to the 2025 eLab Demo Day. I'm so excited to see so many of you here, especially given that the weather was not our friend today. So give yourselves like a big round of applause for just making it. So this event is hosted by Princeton University's Keller Center, and I'm really thrilled that you're all here. My name is Cornelia Holstrunk, and I serve as the executive director of the Keller Center. So I'm really, really happy to be here and really happy to be here with these wonderful teams and to share with you their journey, which began about 9 weeks ago. And they have made so much progress, and I think you will be really amazed to see what they have come up with when they go up here and share their ideas with you. So, put on my little reading glasses here. Tonight, you're going to hear from 4 remarkable teams of Princeton student entrepreneurs. This is a mix of undergraduates and graduate students who have spent their summer immersed in the hard and the messy and the exhilarating work of building ventures that tackle complex societal challenges. These are not just business ideas. These are actually bold responses to real-world problems crafted with empathy, driven by data, and shaped by a deep desire to make meaningful change in the world. The Keller Center is housed within Princeton School of Engineering and Applied Science. It serves as a hub for innovation, creativity, and interdisciplinary exploration. We're home to a very dynamic ecosystem of curricular and co-curricular programs in entrepreneurship, in technology and society, and in design. And our mission is really to empower students and faculty to think expansively, act ethically, and lead with purpose in a rapidly changing world. The eLab Summer Accelerator is really a jewel within our programs, and it is one of the most powerful expressions of that mission. And it has a story of its own. We started the eLab in 2012, very much like a startup within an academic setting. At that time, the entrepreneurship landscape at Princeton was still very nascent. We had to build a program from the ground up. We had to design the curriculum. We had to identify mentors. We had to recruit courageous students to join us, and we had to find space. It truly was a leap of faith, but it was driven by a belief in our students' potential to lead and to innovate and to make that change. Fast forward to today. And it's incredibly exciting to see how far we have come. eLab has grown into a really recognized accelerator program. And tonight's event is a testament to the strength of that vision and the big community that continues to sustain it. This year, the cohort includes 4 different teams that really exemplify the diversity of thought and the purpose that we strive to cultivate. First, we have Instant Replay. Instant Replay is tackling fashion's environmental crisis by transforming excess inventory into opportunity. Their platform offers brands a sustainable liquidation solution that protects brand equity while engaging Gen Z consumers in fresh and meaningful ways. Next, we have Eval Gaming. Eval is redefining esports recruitment and player development. It's inspired by traditional athletic scouting frameworks and is building a structured, data-driven ranking system for high school gamers, creating pathways to college scholarships and professional opportunities. Love Struck Games is reclaiming cultural storytelling through immersive gaming experiences. Their platform centers narratives from underrepresented communities, offering players a chance to engage with rich, authentic stories that challenge stereotypes and celebrate identity. And finally, but not least, House of Bones. House of Bones is reimagining the theater experience by blending dark drama with immersive design. Their venture explores how storytelling, space, and emotion can converge to create transformative, visceral performances that push the boundaries of traditional theater. Now, each of these ventures reflects the creativity, the empathy, and the rigor that define eLab experience. They've spent the summer refining their ideas, testing assumptions, and building ventures that are not only viable, but they're intentional. Of course, none of this would have been possible without the dedication and the brilliance of so many people. I want to especially recognize Ben Leonard, our lead faculty instructor, whose guidance and insight have shaped the experience for our teams. Also, a heartfelt thank you to Stephanie Landers, our assistant director, Manda Ryan, our program coordinator, for their dedicated leadership, empathy, and guidance to all the students throughout the entire summer experience. And Gina Guarino, our tireless event coordinator, who ensures that everything runs smoothly on days like this, and who has really put the demo day together. There are countless others within the Keller Center that I also would like to thank. I'm not going to list them all here, but this is truly a team effort, and just a huge thank you to everyone. I also want to thank the many mentors, advisors, and supporters. Thank you so much for investing your time, your wisdom, and your heart into this journey. To our students, we're so proud of you guys. This is amazing. You've really taken lots of risks. You've embraced uncertainty, and you have leapt into the unknown. That's real innovation, and that's what innovation really demands. And no matter where your ventures go, the mindset that you've cultivated over these last 9 weeks will serve you and the world well. To our guests, thank you so much for being here to support these fabulous innovators. Your presence, your questions, and your curiosity mean a lot to them and to us. So with that, let me introduce Ben Leonard. Ben.
All right, thank you. It took me about 3 hours to get here from Princeton, so I appreciate you all being here. I'm going to read off of this to try and stick to my 4 minutes. Thank you, Cornelia, and thank you all for coming. To see, first and foremost, our teams and the amazing work that they've done over the last 9 weeks. They all started with ideas, and over the last 9 weeks, they've taken major steps to turn them into the nucleus of what could become a successful venture. We're living through really interesting times, from the worldwide socioeconomic challenges and the technological advancements in AI. We're seeing paradigm shifts everywhere. Last year, I spoke about entrepreneurship, design, and creative leadership as the goalposts of the work that we do here at Keller with our students. And with every year that I've been here at Keller, it seems like these themes have become more relevant than the year before. And what I've seen this year in our students has yet again been really, really inspiring. First, it's amazing how all of you already use the technology that's available to you. All the AI tools are pretty much things we don't have to teach you anymore, and that's absolutely amazing. But what will become essential skills in this new AI everything world are the skills that unlock true human ingenuity. The ability to deeply understand human needs, the critical thinking to foresee unintended consequences, and the taste and ability to judge the quality of anything you make. The self-awareness every entrepreneur needs to lead themselves and to in turn lead others to success. And how to turn all of that into a business that is a net positive for the world. Entrepreneurship as well as design have a built-in sense of agency. And by that I mean an understanding that we can impact and shape the world that we want to live in. That we can address people's needs and change their lives for the better. All projects this year show this in their own way. Some in earlier stages than others, but each of our students has started to cultivate this sense of agency in themselves. And in a day and age where AI agents are all the rage, it's this kind of creative entrepreneurial agency that we'll need much more of so that we move humanity forward. Entrepreneurship isn't one single course or class or program. As Cornelia said, it's a mindset, a skill set, and most of all, the resilience you build through the often tough lived experiences that you go through. The stuff you can't only learn in theory, but you need to go through in practice. So I'm really proud of the fact that many of our students this year have or will take advantage of the continuous learning environment that we offer with the eLab class during the semester and other courses, so we can support them with bespoke education, guidance, and mentorship on their way to make their venture a reality. So thank you all to our remarkable students, first and foremost, for taking a courageous stab at improving the world around you. And then finally, I also want to thank Stephanie and Manda, who really are the driving force behind the program. They work tirelessly to keep us organized and sane and make all of this work possible. And I want to thank all our faculty advisors and our mentors and the external speakers who are sharing their invaluable advice and guidance with our teams over the 9 weeks and beyond that. And thank you all for coming here, because you all are making eLab possible. Thank you.
Last but not least, I'm going to try to talk really fast because I know that you all really want to just get to the presentations. But I have a really long list of people to thank, and we had one of our panelists cancel last minute, and so we have this awesome substitute, and I'm trying to pull up his bio so I can make sure that I get everything right. So apologies if I go astray. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. My name is Stephanie Landers. I am the Assistant Director of Student Programs at the Keller Center, and I can't wait to get started tonight. I'd really like to thank the students for making it this far. You have just one more job to do, is get up on the stage and pitch your ventures, and then tomorrow we have a lunch, and then you'll be done. With so many internship opportunities and summer abroad opportunities, it really took courage for our students to select eLab and not go and work at Meta or BlackRock or Goldman Sachs. No shade to any of those companies, but I'm just pointing out that our students really are taking risks by pursuing a startup venture. Isn't what taking risks what entrepreneurship is all about? I think it is. So I'd just like to thank a couple people, actually it's more than a couple, who have been instrumental in making the eLab, the whole program, the summer, everything, making it possible. And it's going to be a long list. I'm going to run right through it as fast as I can. So first of all, the workshop facilitators that come into our space and they're teaching all these important topics to the students, super important. Speakers, mentors, advisors, everyone who has lended a hand to this cohort. We really value their partnership. Keller Center faculty advisors who have served throughout the summer and then also during the academic year when they are teaching our students and meeting with them for office hours and giving them guidance and advice on their startups. And also Keller's Entrepreneurship and Design Fellow, Ben Leonard, who just spoke. He has added such tremendous value to the eLab program since joining in 2023. He holds weekly meetings with the teams, checking in on their progress, giving them insights, helping get them to their next inflection point. Also, the center directors, Cornelia Hulstrunk, who you just heard from, and then our faculty director, Sigrid Adriansens, Jennifer Tessie, and then also Victoria Dorman, who is here in the audience in the back. Thank you for your support and for helping our student programming and academics really, really succeed. Events coordinator Gina Guarino, obviously she's already been thanked, but she put this whole event together today, so we really have to give her a round of applause for making sure that everything ran without a hitch. She did not order the rain, so don't blame her for that. And the rest of my amazing colleagues in the Keller Center, they have just been there all the time, helping with every little thing, and just because they're great people. So they're not all here today. I'm going to read their names: Elaine Karen, Lee Cole, who is here, Greg Duncan, Beth Jarvie, Emily Latham, Jessica Lung, MJ Zachary. An additional thanks to Carrie Estrada and Max Lloyd, the interns in the Keller Center's Makerspace, who are also here today helping with this event. We really appreciate you. Special recognition to longtime Keller Center supporter Ed Shao from the class of '61, Ed Shao Sr. Ed, the reason I mention him is although he's officially retired, we're still very much in touch with him over email, and he started the very first entrepreneurship course at Princeton in 1997, I believe. Let's see, fall of '97, and he taught that class. He loves to say, I taught it for 31 semesters, and he really did. And then he passed it on to Chris Keeney, who is another wonderful faculty member. So those classes really were like the birth of entrepreneurship and helped us to really achieve our goals in the center. We owe so much of who we are and where we are today because of Ed Shao's support. So we would just like to thank him. We miss you, Ed. I don't know if you're watching, but just giving you a shout out anyway. The biggest thanks of all goes to my colleague, Manda Ryan, who's in the back of the room, and everyone's gonna look at her now and wave. She is my amazing colleague, partner in crime, friend, and she's a Renaissance woman, and she pours so much of her time and energy and her passion into helping the students. Like, everything is about the students, and she's really made a memorable summer for them. So I don't know when she sleeps, but I really can't stress how much I appreciate her. Thank you so much, Amanda. You're amazing. So last but not least, we have a feedback panel today. And like I mentioned, one of the feedback panelists had to cancel due to the rain. So I'm going to try to read off as best I can the bio of our pinch hitter. So the first person I would like to mention is Bruce Hack. He was the director, then chairman of Technicolor Inc., the world's largest creative services and second largest set-top box and internet gateway business from 2010 to 2019. And prior to that, he was the principal in creation of Activision Blizzard, then the world's largest video game company. And he served as executive vice chairman from 2008. And then from 2004 to 8, Bruce was CEO of Vivendi Games, the developer and operator of numerous franchises, including Blizzard's World of Warcraft, which I'm sure some of you have played, the defining subscription-based online game of the 2000s. And previously, Mr. Hack was executive vice chairman, Universal Music Group, the world's largest music company from 98 to 2001, and CFO of Universal Studios from 95 to 98. And currently, he's a director and advisor to numerous early and mid-stage startup companies. Next, we have Diana Radel. She is the CEO and founder of Deer Isle Group, an innovative investment banking and advisory firm since she launched in 2007. Deer Isle specializes in global growth strategies and complex capital solutions, having raised over $5 billion through its broker-dealer subsidiary. The firm also offers a proprietary fintech platform that uses AI to enable efficient and targeted capital raising as well as investor relations. Before Deer Isle, Diana co-founded Millennium Americas, a private capital investment firm focused in Latin America, and previously worked on Wall Street in structured finance. She serves on multiple boards, including the Harvard Business School of New York and OceanGate, and frequently speaks and teaches workshops. Diana has also served on the board of Public REIT. She holds a Bachelor's of Arts from Princeton and an MBA from Harvard Business School. And last but not least, would like to introduce our newest feedback panelist, Bruce Lincoln. Bruce Lincoln, class of 79. He was previously on our Keller Center Advisory Council. Lately, he is the founder and CEO of Uptown Lacrosse. New York tri-state lacrosse area is a hotbed for the sport of lacrosse, and the region produces some of the country's best high school and college talent. So Bruce has done a lot of things, and I'm trying to find more to tell you about him, but I think that you can talk to him afterwards. We're just so happy that he's actually here serving as a panelist, so we cannot thank you enough. Last but not least, I'd like to introduce to the stage, or welcome to the stage, Jay and Arya, who are wonderful eLab summer associates. They've helped with the program the entire summer. They've done social events. They've really just, been morale boosters in the co-working space, and they are going to serve as the MCs for tonight's event. So without further ado, I would like to introduce them to the stage and enjoy the event. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Demo Day. I'm Jay, a rising junior in the philosophy department.
And I'm Arya, a rising sophomore in the electrical engineering department.
As program associates, we've had the pleasure of working with these 4 amazing teams for the past 9 weeks. Daily, they've worked diligently to bring their vision to life. And tonight, they're finally going to be able to give you a glimpse into the ventures they built from the ground up.
That is so true. So today, these 4 teams will be first starting off with a video and a series of presentations that are going to showcase what they have been working on for the past 9 weeks. After that, there will be a Q&A session from our lovely panelists. And after that part, just one flight of stairs upwards, they will be set up in their respective demo stations where you will be able to ask any other questions that you have.
Kicking things off is Team eVal, a group turning students' passion for gaming into college scholarships.
The fastest growing sport in the world, esports. Competitive gaming is now a pathway to college and careers for the next generation. Over 8,000 high schools have esports programs, and more than 700 colleges are investing in collegiate gaming. But colleges can't sort through millions of players, and most players don't know where the real opportunities are. eVal ranks the largest regional high school leagues in the country, providing students a platform to be seen. Elite institutions are already using eVal. Coaches filter players by game, region, or ranking, view detailed profiles with verified stats and academics, and connect instantly with built-in messaging. eVal is the all-in-one platform for collegiate esports recruiting. Esports is here. With eVal, it can be your future.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for being here. My name is Sekou,
And my name is Ryan.
and one thing that we always encourage students to do is play more games.
Why is that?
Oh, thank you for asking, Ryan. It's because you can actually go to college for playing video games today. I'm talking about the same opportunities traditional athletes are realizing through pursuing their passion. I can attest to that as a traditional athlete here at Princeton. I play football, and I did not play football because I wanted to go to Princeton or be in an Ivy League classroom. It was because I had a passion for the game. And through that passion, I had unlocked opportunities I otherwise never would have realized. Today, there are 3.3 billion gamers worldwide, and now they have a new way of accessing these opportunities. This is no longer just a new sport, this is a culture shift. Today, the market has hit $6.6 billion, and it's expected to hit over $34 billion in 2034. And colleges are already realizing that. Today, there's over 500 colleges with esports programs. It's more than just them realizing gaming, kids love gaming. They're saving over $1,200 per student acquisition cost, as well as $45 million was distributed in 2024 alone, which was double last year. The opportunities are there, but students are not finding them.
There are 2 key problems in the current landscape right now. The first is that students aren't getting recruited. I was an esports athlete for 4 years in high school. I was in the top 0.1% of the game that I played. However, finding these opportunities was difficult, and I know I wasn't alone with that. I heard similar feelings from both teammates and competitors. The other half of the problem is that scholarships are going unused. Several of the schools that we worked with have told us how difficult it is to find players to round out their esports rosters. These 2 problems existing at the same time seems counterintuitive. It seems simple enough, right? Connect those players to these schools and everyone's happy. But there's no infrastructure like that in esports. Traditional sports has a solution to this problem. They have recruiting platforms like 24/7 Rivals that connect players to schools, but esports does not have that yet, and that's where eVal comes in. eVal is the all-in-one college recruiting platform for players, coaches, and leagues in esports. Players can create profiles on our platform with key performance metrics, academic info, and bios so that recruiters can identify their talent. Leagues can create profiles on our platform that serve as nexuses of competition, where students can sign up to compete at the click of a button. And lastly, schools can create centralized hubs of info for their esports program and scholarship info so that students know where to look. To bring eVal to life and to scale, we've created a team of students with experience across esports, tech, and recruiting. And most importantly, we're all gamers. We know the ins and outs of the traditional sports recruiting platforms and the tech behind them. And not only that, we're tremendously well-versed in the esports industry. Each of us have 4+ years of experience in big industry movers like Dignitas, Vanta, and Mobilix. We're passionate, we're experienced, and ready to make a difference in the esports recruiting space. So now, let's talk about why we're doing this. Let's talk about what's on the market right now. Tracker.gg is a ranking service, but it's not built for players. You can use it to find your stats, sure, but it doesn't help you find those opportunities and connect to schools. On the other hand, existing recruiting platforms like Stay Plugged In have significant financial barriers for students, and they have only unverified data, which college coaches do not like. eVal bridges the gap with a new approach. We combine these verified game analytics alongside recruiting infrastructure to serve players, coaches, and leagues nationwide. And on top of that, we make sure that esports is accessible. We help players get ranked and recruited for free, just like in traditional sports. At the heart of our platform is the eVal composite score. Simply put, it's a number from 0 to 100 that tells you how good a player is. This score is tailored by game. The three we support right now are Valorant, Super Smash Bros., and Rocket League. We score players based on benchmarks, which we've established through consultation with industry experts and professional players. Once we generate the score, we then use AI-driven insights to help players figure out what exactly they need to do to get these scholarships that are out there waiting for them. And the benefits aren't only for players. Coaches love it because it prevents them from having to heap through hours of data and film just to find out how good a player is. They can do it in seconds, something that they can't do anywhere else. The eVal score is the gold standard for high school esports evaluation, and it's helping streamline the processes for coaches nationwide. And underlying this composite score is the key differentiator of our platform. We're the first esports recruiting platform with verified game analytics. These are some of our dashboards. This is for Rocket League, this is for Super Smash Bros., and this is for Valorant. They feature some key game information like your kills, your deaths, and your win rate, but they also feature eval metrics. These hand-picked metrics tell a lot more than just how good you are. They tell the story of why you play the way you do. And using our dashboards, coaches can come to a better understanding of a player than with any other method. We use these analytics to build leaderboards, to create comprehensive recruiting profiles, and to even build casting kits. All of these things help bridge students to colleges to make advantage of the opportunities that are available to them. To validate this, we had to test our model. And who better to do it with than with the largest scholastic esports league in the country, Garden State Esports. Garden State Esports, or GSE, supports over 12,000 students. And this past spring, we ranked 40 of the best Valorant teams in the country. We sent this data to college coaches for recruiting purposes and for recognition, and they appreciated the insight we provided. On top of that, at the end of the season, we ranked over 3,000 students live at the finals event, showing the versatility and validity of our platform. The students loved it, GSE loved it, and most importantly, they've renewed it with us as a customer for the 25-26 season. And it doesn't stop there. Going into the fall, we're ready to support over 20,000 players across 6 different leagues, including the newly onboarded Texas, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. On top of that, we're trusted by some of the biggest names in collegiate esports. We have over 15 colleges on our platform right now, from D1 powerhouses like Syracuse University to elite institutions like the US Military Academy at West Point. Traction for eVal is only growing, and we're supported by some of the biggest names not only in esports, but in education as a whole.
The industry is embracing us. And with that, we're creating a great community. We've already curated over 12,000 followers on one social media platform alone. We're averaging 7 million views a month. And we were just recently on the largest video game podcast in the country. This is more than just momentum. It's validation. People are appreciating the work that we're doing. How are we capitalizing upon this opportunity? We're operating with a hybrid B2B model with 3 key users and 2 customers. First, players. They never pay because we don't think opportunity should come with a price tag. When it comes to leagues, they pay for competitive infrastructure through things like ranking, journalism, and analytics to better understand both their players and how to run their organization. When it comes to colleges and coaches, we give them analytical tools to better understand recruits as well as their own teams.
Now, let's talk about the numbers behind it all, the key costs and profits that we get from eVal. The main costs are the web infrastructure for our platform, R&D costs for our analytics engine, money that we use to disperse scholarships and host live events, and marketing, which we anticipate will be our highest scaling cost. In terms of profits, colleges and leagues are our main customers, but we also anticipate significant revenue from partnerships. These include companies in the gaming space, in the food and beverage space like Red Bull, and even clothing companies like 100 Thieves, who love the insight that they get from our demographic of over 3.3 billion gamers. Using that, we constructed a comprehensive P&L and created some revenue projections for our next 5 years. We anticipate that by our 5th year operating, we will hit $31 million in annual recurring revenue. And this is with a conservative estimate of the industry's growth. Our business model is ready to scale, and as the scholastic esports industry explodes, eVal is ready to capitalize.
So what's next for eVal? Going into the fall, we're continuing to onboard additional leagues as well as colleges. In the winter, we're excited to finalize partnerships with large nonprofits as well as poor organizations in the space to finalize our national scholarships we'll be giving out in 2025. Going into the spring, we'll be releasing our premium analytics boards for both players, coaches, and leagues, as well as hosting our first regional combine. Finally, going to the summer, after establishing our national presence and ranking over 20,000 players across the country, we'll be super excited to host our first national combine, as well as bring on huge games to our platform like Fortnite. The future for eVal is bright, and for the students it supports. Not because we're just helping them get better at playing video games, but we're helping them navigate a digital landscape, find opportunity, and find purpose. So please, remember, play more games. Oh, microphone. Yeah, introduce yourself.
So hi, I'm Erica. I'm a rising sophomore at Princeton, also studying electrical engineering just like Aria. And I work on the marketing side with Sekou. We do a lot of outreach, and I'm excited to be here on the team and keep things rolling this summer and forward.
And hi, I'm Ibrahim. I'm also a rising sophomore here at Princeton, and I'm eVal's software developer. So I help build out the platform that helps the high schoolers actually get recruited to colleges. And I'm happy to be here as well.
Can I be heard? Yes. Congratulations, beautifully done. You won the game. Let's start logically from the beginning. 2 questions on the first 2 points. One is the size of the market. How big do you feel as if it could conceivably be? The problem definition is amazing. I think you're right. There is a problem that needs to be solved. The question is how big. The second is your solution. Please describe the technology itself that's putting together all of this unbelievable intelligence about players by game, their suitability in individual situations, their exact skill level, utility, time played, all of those things. How have you built out the solution so brilliantly? This will be your defensible advantage, I think, if you can pull it off.
Yeah, I mean, I think to your first point, in terms of how big this can be, I think that a lot of this opportunity is going unrealized currently. Today's, I guess, population, 90% of kids in the U.S. are playing video games, and if they realized this was an opportunity they had in terms of accessing college, and people would be investing more time and allowing their kids to actually play games for a different reason other than a pastime. As well as in terms of market size, right now it's at $6.6 billion, and that's only been kind of a thing since 2014. And we're going to see it scale. We've seen, I mean, previously last year was at 4.7. So I think you're going to see the market growing rapidly, and with that, we're trying to capitalize right now. I think in terms of how the product actually operates, I'll let Ryan answer that question.
Yeah. Just for the market size, on top of that, I'd like to add, from a recent report, Esports Foundry, they're an organization that publishes info about the scholastic esports space every year. And they've found that a lot of D1 schools are bracing to invest in this space. One big example is Syracuse University, and there are a lot that are falling behind them who are ready to invest, not only because it has a lot of entertainment value and there are high potentials from ad revenue and things like that, but also because it saved them in student acquisition costs, especially for STEM. STEM is something that colleges are really looking for right now, and if they can save up to $1,200 per student for STEM acquisition, and about 70% of esports athletes are in STEM, then it's a no-brainer for schools like that to continue investing in the future. As for how the technology behind it works, the main way that we get our data is through developer APIs. So I'll use Valorant for an example. That's the most popular game that we support right now. So from Valorant, we use APIs from Riot Games. So we pull data directly from matches that students play to make sure that the data that we pull is 100% verified. Right? Existing things on the market right now often rely on things that are self-reported, but we pull directly from the source, making sure that there's no intermediary between the game being played and us. Once we do that, we set some key benchmarks. We've spoken to a lot of people, including top student athletes, professional players, and people who are just very familiar with the esports industry as a whole to figure out where should a player be performing, especially like based on the difficulty of the league they're competing in, things like that. So we set some key benchmarks to assess players. And using those benchmarks, we figure out, one, does the player hit the benchmark? And then if they do, how well do they hit it? And using that, we consolidate that into our score from 0 to 100.
Thank you.
Yeah, great job, and super interesting space. Something I, as a non-video player, don't know anything about, but it seems amazing. But no, my question is basically, how do you prevent competitors from coming in? Like, how much capital, how much do you have to sort of invest to, or can somebody else just come in and sort of become a big competitor if they see that this is an interesting space?
Yeah. So right now, frankly, there are a few companies who are in the space, but we're using a much different approach to propagate among the scholastic esports industry, in that we're, instead of focusing on acquiring individual players, our main customers are leagues, right? Leagues who facilitate this competition among players. And the main advantage that we provide is, since we're providing infrastructure for them, if we go to these organizations, who we've already onboarded a few of them, Garden State Esports is our first paying customer, and we have calls with several scheduled. Pennsylvania is one that we just got earlier this week. And by going through this approach, we're able to ensure these long-term customer-client relations that allow us to then get these players as they come in every year. As for the technology side of it, it's definitely something where you need that early mover advantage, and that's something we have. From all the leagues that we've spoken to, there's no other solution like this out there yet. So it does take capital to get it started. Right now, we're looking at a number of around $250,000 to make sure that we can retain our early mover advantage and invest in the R&D to make sure our analytics engine is unparalleled. But right now, we have enough of an advantage, and going through this institutional route for support makes sure that even if something else comes up, we have a big enough of a network that our product is simply going to outcompete theirs.
And do you have exclusive relationships with either the API side or the institutional side?
Right now, we have exclusive relationships with the leagues. Yeah.
Great, nice job.
So I think this is really cool. I actually was involved with STEM and esports before doing what I'm doing now, which is in lacrosse, which is growing rapidly as well. What role can the NIL monies play in what you're doing, as what you're doing is taking, esports athletes and making them big name athletes in their particular space?
Yeah, so right now, esports isn't really in the place where NILs are making up a big chunk of revenue. But if you look at the professional scene, it's something that's definitely there. There's some players for League of Legends, Faker, who's a South Korean player and probably the biggest name in esports. Players like those are in advertisements, things like that. NIL is definitely something that is growing, especially for companies like Red Bull. Right? Red Bull is a company that's in the esports space, and they use professional players to market and things like that. I wouldn't say the space is there quite yet, but in terms of how it will affect our model, I think Seiko has a lot more experience in the traditional sports framework, so I think he can address that.
Yeah, I can elaborate a little bit more. I think that, like he said, the space in terms of just audience is still developing. I don't think people are even aware of this opportunity, or that these people are competing, and that once they know that, it would be kind of a different dynamic. The one thing I will say, sponsorship is still a thing. So a lot of universities are getting sponsorships from pro organizations. So we talked with Texas A&M, and they're sponsored by a pro org who pays for all their equipment and pays money for their students in terms of scholarships. So there is a world where that's going to soon be a thing, but it's not today.
The other thing I thought was cool is that you're working with younger players who are now growing up in the sport. Have you looked at the role that pathing can play, as what you start to do is identify those players early and then support them as they grow into esports stars?
Yeah, I think we only ran our pilot last spring, so we haven't honestly been able to capture a journey yet. That's why I think we're so excited to do that this year.
Yeah, the way we built our platform is that's just, although it's targeted for high school gamers, anybody can use it. Anybody can make an account and do those analytics to figure out how good they are. So I think the long-term vision is that eventually, You're in middle school and you're playing games, and your dream is one day get recruited to college, and eval can help you with that entire journey, help you improve and hit those benchmarks and eventually get a D1 offer.
All right, thank you so much, Team Eval. We literally can't wait to see how you transform the esports recruiting landscape in the years to come. All right, now next up is Team House of Bones Theater Company, which provides a virtual theater experience from the comfort of your own home.
Hey everyone, I'm Ash Baudelaire, she, her, and I am the co-artistic director, playwright, and dramaturg of House of Bones Theater Company.
And I'm Matthew Cooperberg, they, them, the co-artistic director and theatrical director. And together, we're building an entirely new Gothic theatrical universe for the streaming generation, capitalizing on the trend towards niche content on digital platforms.
Humans are wired for sharing stories, and the most powerful narratives aren't just told, they're performed. Theater is a magical form of storytelling, but it's often inexpensive, so most people watch pro shots instead. Now, a pro shot is what happens when a show films its product for digital distribution. Think Hamilton on Disney+. But those recordings are more about preservation than innovation, and they're incredibly expensive. Hamilton cost Disney $75 million.
Theater, especially Broadway, is also increasingly financially and geographically inaccessible for audiences. This is a map of theater stages across the US. As you can see, most are in the Northeast or on the West Coast. Sure, there are some in the middle, but with vast swaths of the country still left unreasonably far from anywhere they could go to enjoy live theater. So most audiences turn to slime tutorials instead. This is the coded name that people use to upload bootleg Broadway recordings to YouTube. And these videos rack up millions of views. Why? Because fans are so desperate to see theater that they'll watch grainy, illegally filmed versions shot from the audience just to get access. That's why we created House of Bones, to innovate a new kind of virtual theater.
House of Bones is our digital media company with 16 original shows ready for production. Today's audiences want content that's strange, irreverent, and built for the digital world. And we're capitalizing on that niche market to create theater that isn't live, it's undead. Our flagship product, our undead plays, are at the heart of our company. Each of our undead plays are a standalone horror tragicomedy set in the interconnected universe of House of Bones, with accompanying lore puzzles that bring audiences further into the world. Each undead play is also a disruptive new format for virtual theater. Shot in a ghostly single point of view, it brings audiences out of their seats and onto the stage. Now, from a business standpoint, each undead play is also a vehicle for expansion. Because House of Bones owns the IP, we're able to scale up our product to include merchandising, to include radio plays, and live immersive tours, and more. That is what makes House of Bones so unique, is this innovative format. We are making something really weird, we know that, but our audiences love it.
A comparable market case study is Wednesday on Netflix. This show is a gothic cultural sensation from the beloved Addams Family IP and became the most watched English language show on the platform. Its success highlights the potential for our undead plays to create unique, episodic horror tragicomedies set within a broader interconnected universe, both engaging digital native audiences and Gothic aestheticists alike. Our audience is smart, subversive, and aesthetically adventurous. And while this audience is massively engaged, they are underserved. And we've already seen what happens when you give them something new. When we launched our teaser content for House of Bones, we gained over 7,000 views in our first week. Our universe is built to cater to these fans with diverse, often overlapping interests. Whether you're into Gothic aesthetics, headbanging to metal, or you're into puppet monsters that represent sociological issues. Our horror tragicomedies have a story for you whenever you're ready to dive in.
And that's because we're not competing in the traditional theater market. We are thriving in the attention economy by meeting audiences where they are on YouTube. Let's take a look at the structure of an undead play. So each undead play delivers up to 3 hours of original content, and they are split into hour-long episodes that you can stop and start at your convenience, along with our flexible payment methods, because you can do $2 per episode or $5 per show. So that keeps our work accessible while also, revolutionizing how we're going to take in a diversification of revenue. And we go beyond the play, because we also have a separate credit episode that goes behind the scenes into the making of the creative process. That means that our shows aren't just entertainment, they are a marketing asset. Sustainability, it's in our bones. Let's talk about our timeline. So in phase 1, fall 2025, we are doing a fully funded minimal viable production, Graveyard Shift, and this will be done with Princeton's Lewis Center for the Arts. We then move into phase 2 in fall 2027, where we launch our first undead play, Ghoul Drool, as well as launch some of those interactive puzzles and bring about our flexible payment methods. And finally, we have phase 3 in fall 2028, where we launch our second undead play, That's When We Were Gods, and we upload and launch our YouTube channel membership for $10 a month. This gives our fans access to all of the shows, all of the credit episodes, and all of those interactive lore puzzles.
What makes our model so powerful is that we keep our fixed operating costs low with high variable costs for each undead play. We're lean by design, but our shows are ambitious. Each undead play costs around $1 million to make in total, far less than Netflix's average of $13 million per episode. And this includes development, rehearsal, filming, union pay, post-production, and digital distribution. We make our product at a fraction of the cost, while still delivering a Broadway caliber viewing experience. And we're conservatively estimating to take in around $2 million by the end of our phase 2, generated through our $5 show bundle for Ghoul Drool on YouTube. And this is after YouTube's 30% cut off the top. The best way to see how something like this could scale is by looking at something similar. If we were able to reach just 1% of Wednesday's 252.1 million viewers during our phase 2, our revenue would skyrocket to $9 million. Even if that 1% just bought the first episode for $2, our revenue would still be $3.5 million. And that's still just a fraction of the revenue we stand to generate annually, as neither projection includes our Phase 3 channel membership revenue, nor the upside from licensing or merchandising opportunities, which could scale with audience growth. We are strategically claiming a slice of the multi-billion-dollar immersive entertainment ecosystem. We're targeting a small, passionate, culturally influential corner of it, and our early traction proves that we can reach them.
House of Bones isn't just a theater company, it is an entire theatrical universe. We invite you to watch our minimum viable production, Graveyard Shift, when it hits YouTube on November 22nd, and we look forward to bringing you virtual theater from our house to your home. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm John Heitz. I'm the administrative assistant for House of Bones.
Good job. Hello.
I'd like to watch the first episode as soon as possible. It's a very, very enticing presentation, I must say. I love the undead, and I want to be there with you guys right away. You're creating a creative product. It requires a lot of things, everything from, you can see it's strong serialized writing to memeable visuals of all varieties, to immense communities around it. You've got 10 other things to do as well. So the questions, the basic question relates to who's going to do that and how are you going to get that done? What have people done before? Has it been creatively successful, third-party evaluated? Has it been commercially successful? Are they doing something a little bit like what they did before? And, well, when will it come?
Thank you so much for that question. I'll go with starting to talk about our competitors, which is that no one is doing what House of Bones is doing. There are people who have niche branch-offs. Pro shots are definitely something that have been done before. Escape rooms and those interactive lore puzzles, building out online have been done before, but there's not quite an intersection, especially in that Gothic realm. So we would be innovating in that capacity, but in terms of looking for inspiration, we would be looking at something like the National Theatre Live, who puts their shows up and then have different social media capacities of interaction. We would also be looking at Mischief Theater, which has an interactive universe that all their shows are based in, but it's not to the same level of House of Bones where there's a narrative drop-in. And then also we would be looking at Punch Drunk for those immersive walkthrough style shows.
And in addition to that, there's also the YouTube channel and company Spindle Horse, which did a similar kind of thing to what we're doing, where they posted a pilot of two of their shows on YouTube for free. And now they've been picked up by, I believe, Amazon for huge deals.
And in speaking to the job description part of it, so as a non-traditional student, I come with a decade of experience in the theater. So before I was at Princeton, I was working in escape rooms, and I was using the escape rooms to fund my career living in New York City as an artist. So coming with fiscal and creative development responsibilities from Ars Nova off Broadway, which is where I was before I came to Princeton, that is where we'll be tapping into the networks we have, both in New York and our capacity as the playwright and director to lead the charge on the artistic and business front.
Thank you very much.
Of course.
So it's very, very cool and scary how much work you have to do.
Yes.
Couldn't pass that up. But so in terms of people understanding what you're doing and getting the message out there in a way that I guess influencers and people like this probably have to capture, right, to actually scale that messaging. How are you thinking about that?
So from a marketing standpoint, we're thinking of each of our social media as a way to interact with a specific type of character. So our Instagram, which trends better with like grids and carousels, those are characters that you saw in the trailer. We're very still and eerie and ornate. Whereas characters like the Coryphaeus, who take over our TikTok, they're irreverent, they can come up with memes, they're witty, they can capitalize on trend to keep us both social media relevant, but also connected to our universe.
I think you addressed that.
where will you go to get the initial funding so that what you'll have is the money to bring your creative vision to life? Is there someone that, or some places where you think you can go and get that type of runway?
So, yeah. So our pilot show, Graveyard Shift, is being fully produced and funded by Princeton's Lewis Center for the Arts. And so that's our pilot show, and that'll be uploaded onto YouTube for free. That QR code will take you to our YouTube page. Beyond that, we're also looking, hopefully, to get arts grants from various organizations, as well as we've been thinking about starting a Kickstarter once we're closer to that point.
Because we're exploring both a hybrid model between nonprofit and then an LLC for each show, it gives us the opportunity to do fiscal revenue through traditional investing so that investors can get their return through the LLC. But we could also apply for those arts grants on a nonprofit status for House of Bones the World. So we're open to exploring all the different ways we can generate revenue.
And another question I'd like to ask, where do you think you can find other creative and talented writers who would want to be a part of your theater? I mean, you guys are obviously creative powerhouses, but there must be other people that would be into this.
Yeah, we've already started going to expos. We went to the New Jersey Film Expo in, what was it, May, I believe? And we're also using our networks at Princeton. Our director of the program is now a Tony Award-winning lighting designer. And there are many other very talented people in the program that we're hoping to use their networks and get their advice on where we could go to find more people that would be interested in joining us on our pursuit.
And because the theater community, most people are hopping from project to project. They're trying to hop on as many worlds as possible. And what's great about Matthew and I being the director and the playwright is that we can truly center in on the narrative structure, make sure that's tight, and then we could also start bringing in really cool escape room people. So we could franchise out and do like an in-world escape room. I know that Netflix is doing a pop-up immersive world at some locations where you can walk through their shows. That is something House of Bones would be perfect for. So we're always thinking about different designers, actors, creatives. What's beautiful about the theater world is that we are all friendly competition. Other good shows mean they want to come see our cool show. So everyone's keen to help out.
And everywhere that we've gone, and everyone that we've gone to and pitched this idea, at least the artists have wanted to join us and either watch our stuff or be involved themselves.
That's really cool.
Everyone loves a pioneer, and we are going to be not the second Tim Burton or the second Broadway. We are the first House of Bones.
Nice. And one more question, which is how are you able to produce and do all of this for such a discounted rate versus what Netflix, so $1 million versus $13 million, right?
A lot of that comes with when you're shooting something like Netflix, you have to be on site. You have multiple extras. We're not actually shooting in a theater. We're shooting on a soundstage and then using AI and green screening in certain elements. Also, it helps that the characters who play our background people are meant to be still. So that's a mannequin budget. That is not a live actor budget. So that really does help.
Yeah, and that because we're shooting on one soundstage and that soundstage will look like a stage, we don't have all the location budgets. Also, and I've checked this, if we run under a SAG-AFTRA contract for our actors, we would classify as, I believe, a new media category C, which allows us to have lower fees, basically.
Because a lot of what makes running a Broadway pro shot so expensive is that you have to deal with the actors union, and there are absorbent fees that you have to pay to put something on screen. A lot of that $75 million was also distribution fees, not like the actual shooting of the show. It's especially because we're doing an immersive world where there's one camera, so we're not setting up multiple shots. We can do things with more of a lean GoPro. It gives us a lot more opportunity to focus on the design elements to capture and compete with that Broadway style.
And it also shortens the filming time frame.
Yeah, because we rehearse it like a play, we film it like a movie, and then we distribute it like a limited series. Nice. Yeah. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, House of Bones. We are so excited to watch you guys transform the theater industry. Next up is Instant Replay, a group bridging the gap between Gen Z and fashion brands.
What do you think?
Immediate no. Immediate no. Please go change. That's horrible.
Hey, do you think you can help me with the zipper?
No, it's not even worth zipping it up. Closer, but go change. No. Immediate no. No. Here, my friend told me about this app. Just try it.
That the sum of the squares of the two legs of a right triangle, we'll call them A and B, will equal the square.
Hi guys, my name is Grace Amakui,
And my name is Ayushman K.
and today we're presenting.
Do you have the clicker with you?
Right here.
Oh, there we go. Thank you so much.
And today we will be presenting Instant Replay, where we provide brands detailed data analytics to better understand Gen Z college students. So this all began my senior year of high school. I discovered that 30% of brand new, unsold clothing was getting thrown away and destroyed. Brands rather throw it away, burn it, instead of find a solution because they cared a lot about their brand image. I worked with these brands to sell this clothing directly to initially boarding school students and then college students as a way to not only liquidate but market to these students and give them a solution.
Now, why does this problem exist? It's because the next generation of fashion is very unpredictable. They've already brought back old trends from the 2000s like bootcut jeans and wired headphones, and are now creating new unexplainable trends like fast fashion cycles, limited time drops, and labubus. Now, if you don't know what that means, that's exactly the problem we're trying to solve at Instant Replay. Our team consists of members who have experience across retail, tech, and most importantly, all belong to Gen Z. And using that experience, we try to understand what our friends and the members of the generation want in terms of their fashion needs and desires.
Exactly. So like Ayushman said, we try to figure out, okay, why are these trends happening and how can we crack them? So we went across 20 different college campuses and got data points from over 45,000 students. Through these, we saw trends in brands people like, what people wanted to buy, what price point they were willing to pay at, and really just start to paint the narrative of how college students were shopping.
And once we created this solution, we decided to create the Instant Replay app. On our app, we use a swiping-based interface. You can swipe right on any items you like, swipe left on items you don't. We also offer our users an aisle-based system where brands can have exclusive aisles only for their items. This also protects brand equity and gives students access to the hottest items in the hottest trends with the biggest brands. Now, why would someone use our app compared to, say, Lululemon's app or H&M's website? This is because we offered a habitual engagement model through our daily drops. Every day, we curate unique items which we drop and change every 24 hours. We also offer these items at reasonable prices using our unique replay price, which is a discount that helps track price sensitivity, what prices students are buying at, and also makes it reasonable for college students with the right budgets to be buying the items they want. In terms of the feedback we've received from our users, they've highlighted two aspects which they really appreciate. Firstly, the convenience. We deliver our items directly to our users' doors. So now they no longer have to walk to a pop-up, a thrift store, or any big brand-named fashion company to buy the clothes they want. And secondly, the idea of the steal. Do you ever have that feeling of walking to a store, finding an item which is just perfect for you at the perfect price? We offer that feeling directly at your fingertips using the Instant Replay app.
And not only do we provide value to all our users, but we also provide major value to the brands. Two case studies we have here is Crewdog and La Bonito. La Bonito is a Singaporean fashion brand that really wanted to crack the US market, but they didn't know how. So they worked with us to test different styles, colors, and just understand what does the US market want and how does it compare to the Singaporean market. Using our data, this actually helped them open up their store in New York City and help better understand the market and what products they should bring overseas. We also have Crewdog, which is a newer brand that was trying to figure out, should we focus on screen printing or should we focus on doing embroidery? Through our A/B testing with the brand, we discovered that embroidery was the way to go and they should focus on that, and that became the emphasis of their business. We also have another case study through Generation Typo. This was a very interesting case study because this brand was getting a lot of interest, a lot of hype. A lot of people really liked this new streetwear brand, but they really weren't making a lot of sales. We tried to figure out, okay, why is this the case and how can we actually help this brand increase sales? We did this by testing their pricing model and discovering that was the biggest pain point for consumers. Using our data, they redid their entire pricing model, and this increased sales by 80%, proving that our data not only provides value to the brand, but immediate action they could take to improve the business. Now let's look at our dashboard and the value we provide brands. So in our dashboard, like Ayushma mentioned, we're doing drops on our app every 24 hours, meaning that consumers come back on a daily basis. This is not just one-off, you go to randomly shop. Consumers are consistently coming and providing us daily feedback. Another interesting point is that there's one-on-one time with each individual item. When you shop regularly on a website, you're browsing, you're not giving individualized feedback. But when you're on our app, you're giving feedback to every single specific item, meaning that you get much more specific and curated data for the brand. We also work with the brand to get the specific data, so if they want to focus on pricing or styles or A/B test, we offer all these curated solutions for the brands. And don't just take our word for it. We have industry executives freaking out about Instant Replay and really wanting to get involved and know what we're doing. So Mickey Drexler, who's the ex-CEO of Gap and J. Crew, he found out about Instant Replay randomly on LinkedIn and said, hey, Grace Ann, what's your number? Randomly called me and wanted to find out more about what we're doing. He's been in the industry for multiple decades and said we're the hardest generation to crack. Why are we buying Labubus? Why are we wanting these random items? A lot of it comes down to social media and different things like that. But he said we are a hard generation to crack, and that is why what we're doing is so pivotal. Another person that is really interested is Jack Schweffel. He was the ex-CEO of Vince, and he said the data we're collecting and the pace of which Gen Z are moving with social media and trends like that is very hard to keep up with, and that is why our data is so valuable, because finally brands can then understand these trends and understand this to a further level that they just can't get right now.
Now, why exactly is this data valuable? Our generation alone makes up a quarter of the fashion market at the moment, and we know that these brands want to build brand loyalty. We know that 54% of consumers resort to the brands they've been buying for long periods of times. So we offer these brands the opportunity to find their consumers early. College students are just learning how to express themselves, what their fashion sense looks like, and which brands are able to most closely match their fashion desires. So by giving them the chance to reach these students directly and sell to them directly on campus, we allow brands to build the strong customer relationships they want for the next generation of buyers who will buy from high quality and premium fashion brands. In terms of the data we're providing to our brands at the moment, we do three important aspects which these brands really value. Firstly, we give them direct-to-campus sales using our ambassador model. We have a strong ambassador network of student ambassadors across multiple colleges in the US, and this way, brands can market to students directly through student relationships. They no longer have to invest in very expensive marketing campaigns, which can also be very inefficient and don't target the right audience. In terms of our metrics, we track which items students like. So the swipe-based model tracks which items you like, which you don't, and the price sensitivity on the basis of our discounts. So how long did you keep an item in your cart, and what took you to purchase that item, and what was the driving force? These are all important metrics in helping brands decide what their next line fashion looks like. We finally curate this data using AI, making the process much more efficient and much more quicker than other companies. And we also curate it specifically for brands in terms of their target market, their target consumer, and what they want to create next with their fashion brands. In terms of our current financial model, we rely primarily on two verticals at the moment. We're relying on our student marketplace, where we sell most of our clothing and receive revenue from the clothing which we're selling. And secondly, our ambassador network, where brands pay us money to market directly to students, host pop-ups across campuses, and give them the insights which they need. Finally, though, and ultimately for the vision for Instant Replay, we want Instant Replay to be a data powerhouse. We know that $12 billion is our total addressable market just from a data brokerage perspective, because the commerce and retail industries right now are the biggest industries which require data insights from different demographics. As a student demographic company, we're able to provide clean and direct insights to these brands, and we want to be the front runners in being able to do this for fashion brands within the industry.
And now let's look at where Instant Replay is and where we're going. So Instant Replay here, we worked with a lot of specific Gen Z fashion brands and are continuing to build these brand relationships. Some brands are Theory, Aviator Nation, and Lululemon. We also are building out our student ambassador program, as Ayushma mentioned. We began in the Ivy League since that was a natural start, and we progressed now to bigger state schools, Penn State, University of Miami, Rutgers, and are continuing to focus on these schools with even larger audiences and more students to then get on Instant Replay. And so right now, Instant Replay is coming out of beta and live to college campuses all across the United States for fall 2025. Then as we go into the winter, we're going to really focus on our student ambassador network, really growing it and focusing for the holiday season, getting students involved. As we go into the spring, we are going to continue to focus on getting brands involved and getting more brands to sold on our platform. And as we go into the summer, this is where things are going to change. Instant Replay is going to be a place where if you're a college student and you need cosmetics, you will shop Instant Replay. If you're a college student and you need a notebook for your class, you will shop Instant Replay. If you need a suit for your summer internship going into the summer, you will buy it on Instant Replay. And if you're a college student at any school, Instant Replay will be your #1 stop shop to go for everything and anything, and it will change the game when you're in college to shop. So if you want to download Instant Replay and are college students, scan this QR code, and brands who really want to understand college students, please reach out to us. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Sergey. I'm the founding engineer, and I'm a sophomore here at Princeton, studying electrical and computer engineering.
Hi, my name is Vivian Chang. I'm the head of marketing. I'm a sophomore at Princeton University studying economics.
Hi everybody, I'm Nadula. I'm a founding engineer here at Instant Replay. I'm a rising sophomore also, and I'm studying computer science.
This is a very compelling app and a beautiful presentation. And I just want to tell you that I'm in the 4th quarter and I want to sign up for it. So how do you keep people like me from getting onto that site and buying all of these really great things? And then secondly, since the demand is going to be so great from college students and everybody like me, how are you going to manage the supply chain of all of these places that are going to be giving you their clothing?
Yes, that's a great question. So focusing first on the how we protect our platform, you have to have a verified .edu or .org email to access it, meaning that you can actually access it in high school, but you have to be a student of some sort. And the reason for this is that brands really do want to target that college and that student-specific network, and broadening it out tarnishes our data and kind of skews some of those statistics and loses the element of protection for the brand. When it comes to the network and where we're going for that, because college is continuing to evolve, we're going to continue to grow our platform via that, as well as the idea that because there's 30% of brand new clothing gets thrown away and destroyed every single year, that's like billions of tons of clothing. So it's an ongoing issue, and our problem is not actually we want to continue to get that unsold clothes, but we actually want to help brands become more lean. So we want to help these brands, instead of having 30% brand new stuff get thrown away, we want to limit that number down to 10%, 5%, bring it as low as possible through our data and analytics. And then that unsold clothing, obviously, we can also offer liquidation solutions as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, I can definitely see students wanting to, use this and, understand also their cohorts, right? So it seems like people can understand what other people are buying as well. But my question is, who's paying for what? Where does your profit come from?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. We have a multiple tiered business model, and one of the ways we make money are brand activations. So brands will pay us around $500 to $1,000 to do a branded specific pop-up, and that's one way, as well as we make profits from selling clothing, and that's our second profit. And then the majority of our profit of where it will be coming from is the data, and that's kind of the big emphasis of our business. So the data is the main chunk, and then we also have throughout brand activations as well as selling clothing.
And how do you sell data? How do you price it, or who's buying it? I know the brands are buying it, but how do they do it?
Right, so at the moment, a lot of our insights have been coming directly from the pop-ups which we've been doing. So in the case of Generation Typo, we gave them a new pricing model to use, and their payment came to us in the form of the pop-ups we were hosting. So our primary profits at the moment look like $2,500 on average per pop-up, and we've done about 50. And what we're noticing is that the insights we'd curate from the pop-ups would usually be in the form of feedback forms or MCQs we'd ask people, and then we'd give them directly to the brands for the price that already paid to us. Now we want to separate that out from our sold clothing model. So obviously we'll be selling their clothing, providing them marketing services, but also charging them more for a curated brand report, We started creating those already using our dashboard, where we collect all the data in sheets and we use AI to segment it by brand. So trying to understand if we have users swiping through Lululemon, Aloe, a bunch of different brands, how can we segment that into different categories? And our aisle system really helps with that. So trying to understand if students love outerwear more or they love items from a specific brand more, that helps us curate it into one sheet, and then we sell that sheet is the business model which we're trying to propose to brands on top of the activation we're giving to them.
I think this is a great idea, and I just have a couple questions. What are currently the revenues that you're generating?
Yeah, like Ayushman just mentioned, the main source of our revenues right now are pop-ups, and that was kind of the principle of why we were kind of pushing our technology and pushing the data. I've been doing this for a while now and kind of creating consistent revenue through pop-ups, and it's been great. But the main focus of this year and going forward has been how do we make a scalable business. Right now, this kind of initially was functioning as a project, a good college business, but the emphasis of our technology and data was getting it to that next level. So on average, we were making like $2,500 a pop-up, but that's not really where we want to go. We want to go with this data and the technology to kind of scale it up and get it further, where we have estimates much higher with the data and with the technology we're providing.
So a follow-on to that, what are the financing needs that you're looking at so you can try to start to scale?
Right, so a lot of our financing needs come in the form of, at the moment, our inventory. So we have partnerships with brands and they provide us with a certain amount of inventory which we sell. We really want to focus now on developing our app. So the maintenance of the app and hiring more students who are able to help build this app is something we really want to focus on. So trying to make our tech stack more strong and more robust. And going forward, having the money to be able to improve our activations and spread across more campuses. So at the moment, we've touched many colleges on the East Coast, and we're selling to students on the West Coast. We had sales go through in the past few weeks where we're shipping directly to the West Coast. So in terms of our supply chain, we really want to try and make it as efficient as possible, and then try and make our active activations as comprehensive, as detailed, and as advanced in terms of reaching more colleges and making them have more features for these brands in terms of what they desire.
That's cool. Now, you had two major industry professionals who reached out to you. Have you built relationships with them to where they're functioning in an advisory capacity?
Jack Schweffel, we have a strong relationship with. Mickey Drexler was kind of out of the blue. Ben knows. We messaged him when it happened. I was like, oh my goodness. So he's someone who we have a relationship, we have his phone number and stuff. So we have that communication line, but not as strong as Jack has been a very strong advisor, written letters for us and really connected us with brands to be involved. So those people are definitely significant for us, and I think one of our big value propositions are these relationships and connections we have in the industry as well.
Yeah, no, that's very impressive. So one of the ideas that a number of the companies that I would work with at Columbia would look at was this idea of corporate venture development. You go to an existing company and you have them invest in you and then support you to where ultimately what they do, they absorb you into their supply chain. And that might be a way that you can also think about scaling. You know, they have the resources and that could help you. You've got certainly the smarts and the keen insights into this. So that might be something that you, as you build your relations with these two gentlemen, you could broach that.
Yeah, no, I think that's an interesting point. I think one dilemma with getting super close to the brand is the idea that focusing, because we've thought of that tunnel, LVMH and certain brands have a venture arm, Gap, for example, as well, but focusing in on that brand actually sometimes diminishes some of our value because we like to provide a lot of different brands and insights, and brands actually do like to find out what's going on at other brands. So that is something we've thought about for sure and need to figure out as well with like how we can broach that, as well as like being able to keep multiple brands going on our platform for sure.
Thank you so much, Instant Replay. I must say that the app was a little too good, and my friends and I have been consistently swiping and cashing in since its release. If y'all keep this up, we might need a instant refund. Get it?
Last but not least, please welcome Love Struck Games, a video game studio creating compelling narratives inspired by Native American culture, brought to life by beautiful, lifelike art.
Nehan lenuakin, kibshikansik, akin shokopelkin, kene lenape. Kikayunkan el kena, kwe tashimen, kwe wapsatikak, kwe kasakan. Kikayunkan el aneka kun, mula punta wakan, shiki wachawisauk. O kwek, mekena kena. Matep. Kishanaka Nakimura. Nenewa Naka Watsitaka. Weke Naka Machisuka Yanship. Nekatunkwe Namachi. Penabela, Welke Penok. Game, que cuete Napu Jane. Kea Peche, Welke. Cortapu Jane, Welke Timihika. Kea Peche, Welke Nefin. Aquí, porque que fama.
Thank you. I'd like you all to take a minute and imagine that you grew up on the frontier of America in 1763, that your family lived primarily alone until a foreign power arrived and immediately started extracting resources that your family depended on. At first, they were friendly. They traded with you. But soon, those resources created scuffles, fights. Then another power arrives, completely different language, different groups of people. Those two powers begin fighting over the land your family lives on. What would you do? How would you respond? How would you keep your family safe? What side would you choose? Would you choose one at all? This is the type of immersive experience that we at Love Struck Games would like to provide for gamers in this market today. My name is Ammon Love. I'm the CEO, founder, and creative director at Love Struck Games, and I'm pitching to you today our first action-adventure RPG, Lenape-Hoking. Lenape-Hoking is set in 1763 colonial America and follows the journey of a fascinating group of people. My talk today is going to go through the gameplay that we're designing, the production, and then the market as a whole, and how we fit into that market. Then I'll briefly talk about our financials that we need in order to reach the targets that we know we can. Lenape-Hoking centers around Neo Lynn. Neo Lynn is a historical figure in Delaware history from my tribe who witnesses a vision of the destruction of his people at the hands of the encroaching British Army. In this vision, Neo Lynn is inspired to unite multiple tribes in what is one of the greatest stories of revolution and rebellion ever told, and ultimately sets up what we believe is the founding of the United States of America, untold history that many people do not know. In our game, it can be broken up in two different parts. The first part follows that real-world storyline, set in the Catskill Mountains of New York, the very homeland of the Lenape, of my ancestors, and the second part in the spirit world, where we'll navigate the mythological and his belief systems that led and ultimately motivated a lot of the decisions in the real world. Much of that will incorporate language and mythology in ways that has never been approached on the national and international scale from a historical preservation, specifically native preservation standpoint. When I say our world is photorealistic, that is not a metaphor. We literally took satellite imagery and recreated it meticulously to literally mirror the Catskill Mountains. Players will be able to immerse themselves in a way they have never been able to immerse themselves in this part of the country. Our gameplay follows a unique approach, which we call a bottlenecked semi-open world. Players will be able to engage freely with our gameplay systems, wielding traditional weapons of bows and knives and tomahawks, but also to engage in diplomacy the ability to engage with different peoples, learn about them, understand them, what motivates them, potentially unify with them. At each key juncture of that bottlenecked open world will be narrative. A cinematic adventure would not be complete without the ability to learn more about these characters, which we have meticulously crafted from historical references. Our team consists of Sahaf Chaudhry as our lead artist. With extensive background in 2D and 3D animation, he's primed to create beautiful visuals, which you witnessed there. In the center is me. I have 10 years of cinematic experience, specifically in marketing, making web spots, TV commercials for different brands, both locally and nationally. And then to my left is Gabrielle Ross. She's our lead software engineer. And her task was monumental in crafting, taking that art and making that gameplay playable and exciting, as you witnessed. I want to talk a little bit about our market. Most people don't realize that the gaming market itself, as a whole, is 4 times the size of the film and the music industry combined. Our market segment alone, the adventure game market, often rivals and surpasses the revenue in the film industry year over year. Here are a couple titles that show you an example of what that looks like. You'll notice in the top left, The Last of Us. Recently, HBO made a miniseries from The Last of Us, released to popular acclaim, and shows the potential that these IPs have to expand far beyond video games into multiple markets. Followed by Ghost of Tsushima, Black Myth Wukong. It moves left to right, and you'll notice that that graph gets larger. That is because the adventure game segment as a whole has grown considerably in just 10 years. This is an example of what those revenue numbers look like simply from the IP. This is not including merchandise or additional segmentation. And why do we think that we can do the same thing? Well, one case study is Clair Obscure Expedition 33, a game made by a very small studio, passionate, unexperienced devs using similar tools that we're using now. They launched their game 3 months ago to critical acclaim and sold 3.3 million units in the first month. There's a tremendous market potential that has not yet been harnessed by the indie game market to mirror AAA-style video game adventures. That is one we wish to harness. Imagine what we could do with a novel idea like Native American history, exploring an untold section of history. This is what our market capture looks like. As a whole, $12 billion is the size, but we're targeting specifically those who enjoy historical action adventures. That number, 500 million, is our target, mirrors similar to what Ghost of Tsushima was targeting. We believe realistically we can capture 50 million in revenue upon launch in year 4 of our plan. That is a conservative estimate. And the reason I say that is because our market segment is much larger than Clair Obscure's, which targeted specifically turn-based action. This is our 4-year timeline to launch. At the end of this year, we plan to launch a fully playable demo and gain meticulous insights into our player base, understanding through analytics how they engage with our material and track exactly which aspects of the gameplay loop they enjoy. We are prioritizing that gameplay loop. Even though this is a cinematic adventure, a storytelling experience, we want to make sure our players are satisfied. And we're taking the time to make sure that gameplay loop is refined. Then, in year 2, with additional funding that we hope to gain from a Kickstarter from that data, launching alongside that will be a marketing plan in order to engage with the players that we know are out there and verify and validate the data for our future angel investors to jump on board and ensure that we understand our client base and they're there and they are hungry for new IPs. This is an overall timeline of what that launch looks like. A demo at the end of this year, followed by a Kickstarter very shortly after, capitalizing on that energy in the market, and then full production 2026 to 2027. Why do we think we could do this so quickly? Well, again, we're focusing primarily on that gameplay in a very short, strict timeline in order to maximize that and expand it very quickly with procedural generation and some of the new exciting tools that are available to us in Unreal Engine, with a planned launch in 2028. We believe that this is more than a video game. We believe it's more than an entertainment property as a whole. We believe it's an opportunity to give cultural preservation a spotlight that it has almost never received, telling a story that goes rarely, very, very untold. We would like you to join in that journey. We believe this cause is more, and it can inspire more people to join in what we consider to be a very rich history, a rich culture that ultimately we believe needs a stage. Thank you. Wanishi.
Good? Yeah. Hello, I'm Sahaf Chaudhary. I'm the lead artist of Lustrop Games.
Hi, I'm Gabrielle Ross. I'm the lead software engineer.
Well, you have a very compelling proposition, I'd have to say. And I'm not sure I'm familiar with a game that has tried to do the teaching of the culture and the history, as well as put it in a historical framework that will help people comprehend better American history. I could be wrong, but it feels like uniquely positioned. If I were in your position, I'd worry first about having an excellent design person with me, design and gameplay, as you're going to be embarking now on putting that together. You all have skills that work in the mix, but the center of it will be the design and the gameplay of it. The art is absolutely, the way you're putting together, beautiful. There's Never Alone, for example, that has a base in Alaska with a similar kind of a cultural orientation, is a beautiful game, and you seem to be hitting that at least with this.
Yeah.
So just to say, the plan to get the people in to run the design work is probably amongst your first and most important things to do.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's definitely a very, it connects emotionally, I think, more than many games, at least for me, a person who isn't really drawn to the games where it's all about, you know, the flash and the combat and whatnot. So that's really great. That's very cool. I was just wondering, what's the kind of point of it? Like at the end of the game, what are you supposed to have done?
Well, I don't want to give away the entire storyline. Spoiler disclaimer here. Ultimately, the point, do you mean from the player perspective? What do we hope players walk away from? They are going to learn about a culture, a language, and a people that they almost have never heard of or learned about, and have influenced a lot of the decisions that ultimately crafted literally the ground we're walking on today.
Right, I understand the philosophical point. I guess I was wondering what's the actual, like when you play the game, what are you trying to do? You're trying to kill people?
Oh, what's the gameplay loop?
Yeah.
Yes, you do kill a lot of people. I'm sorry. that is true. There will definitely be razzle dazzle. But in some ways, what we're trying to tell, the story we're trying to tell is the consequences of what that ultimately leads to. A lifestyle of killing, or situations in which people are forced or feel as if they're forced. They have no other option to kill. What does that do psychologically? That's actually the importance of the spirit world, in which Neolin will very, very intimately experience a lot of what that guilt and fear and yet justified anger, right, does to somebody. So we definitely want to explore a lot of those themes.
You're probably familiar with Games for Change.
Yes, yes.
And for example, the game I mentioned before, I think was the Game of the Year in a recent year there. They're very good at helping all kinds of questions, including publishing, which will be an entirely separate thing in this space, and they're very good at promoting. And if you want somebody to help you get there, I can make the introduction. They'd be very interested.
We would be honored. Thank you. Truly.
So also, as you're putting together your shop, who are you bringing in to help you with your historical research so that can fuel the creative activity, you know, in this important way?
Yeah, it's exciting. We're uniquely positioned, right? So I am currently a research assistant to a history professor here at Princeton who's working specifically on early Lenape history. They're working directly with my cultural director of my tribe, as well as the other 2 tribes that are descended from here. So we have the connection in both history departments nationwide, but also the cultural directors of our tribes, in which that's more.
Are you familiar with William Loren Katz? Have you heard of him?
No, I don't think so.
He's at NYU. He actually wrote an article that talks to what you said, that this activity actually was some of the driving activity that pushed the American idea forward.
Yeah.
But he's accessible. You know, he just came out with, I think his 25-year version of the Black West.
Interesting. All right. That's a great tip. Thank you. I'd love to chat more about that after as well. As a side note, if I can add, one of the things that Gabby brought to the team is she has expensive lacrosse experience, which many people don't understand. Lacrosse originated with Eastern Woodland Native American.
Because it taught as well as created empathy. So in doing the game, the question that was asked before in regard to what actually is the goal of it, it will be incredibly important in my view.
Yeah, yeah. And if I could just speak to that for just a second. Part of our core gameplay loop is combat, right? At least that's the draw in. But ultimately, we're providing them with a solution to avoid combat and consistently reward them down that pipeline. We're opening up new storylines that they would not otherwise have to show them there are other options, not just other options, but better options.
Good.
But,
Excellent.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Lovestruck. Y'all are truly changing the game, and the trailer truly brought tears to my eyes.
Thank you so much to everyone for coming to tonight's event. Let's give one last round of applause for our wonderful team.
Now, so all of our teams will be set up just like a few flight of stairs upstairs at their respective demo stations where you will be able to ask any other questions. So thank you so much for coming to this event and have a good evening. Testing.